What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? This is gonna be your review from your review of Queen Sugar season 4, episode 5. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I hope you like this video. So we start the episode off. Nova's having a dream, and we find out that she's kind of keeping track. And this is the third time she's dreamt about her mom and has had this sort of dream. And in the dream, it looks like it's Big Nova and Little Nova, excuse me, is asking Big Nova, "Are you okay?" And of course we all kind of can get that mindset. Um, Ralph Angel's picking Blue up, and we see that Darla is depressed. She's in bed, she's sleeping, and just dealing with the aftermath of this whole situation with the book. Um, Remy's back in town, but he's only back in town to basically let everybody know he's leaving town. He said that he really didn't like how things went down with him, Nova, and Charlie, how he really liked Charlie and he thought she was the one. And he didn't like the person he became, and he didn't like who he was as far as being willing to date sisters, basically. So he's leaving town, which I kind of thought that Dondre was going to leave the show because he wasn't there at the beginning and they were doing that whole, oh, he's out of town bit. So I figured he was going to leave the show, but I don't like that. I really liked Remy. I don't know why I'm yawning, but I really liked Remy and I really hope Remy would stay, but he didn't. So, okay. Um, we're starting to see the fallout of Nova's book in this episode. We see, like I said, we see Darla is depressed. She's not taking phone calls. She ain't getting out the bed. Davis is calling Charlie saying, "Look, you got to help me out. I'm starting my new job. The fallout, the book, the information from Nova's book is starting to get out, and then people are protesting, at the job, because he's at a university now, and that's a whole different animal, and he's there." And the women are protesting. He's like, "Charlie, you gotta help me. I need your help. I need your help." Now, remember, Charlie was always his fixer, which is what kind of got them all in trouble to begin with. That's what's in the book, is that she was the fixer. And um he ends up coming over there to talk to Charlie. And he's like, "Look, what do I need to do?" He was like, "I get it. You know, I took for granted what you did for me, but now I really need it. I need that from you right now." And so Charlie tells him, "Look, this is what you need to do. You need to just go on and own up to it. You need to apologize. You need to ask for forgiveness, and maybe it'll work." He was like, "Maybe." He was like, "Look, if you want me to tell you 100% it's going to work, you can't get that from me because I can't promise you that. But the best thing I can tell you is get in front of it, own up to what you did, make an apology tour. And so he gets to start talking about how he screwed up and maybe he didn't work hard enough to save his family. And Nova was like, Charlie was like, "You know what? There was a time where I really needed to hear that." And he kind of leaned in like he was going to kiss her. And she looked back at him like, but not anymore. I don't need to hear that now. And his little fillers, his little face was crack, 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 crack. So, but he's really realizing, and I'm sure he realized it before, but he's seeing it in action. There you go. Sorry, y'all. What it is that Charlie, how much he misses what Charlie has done for him. Um, Something else happened, but anyway, I'm sure I remember. Nova's on her book tour. She's in New York, and she's at a talk. And a former, I ain't gonna go through all this. It ends up being a former professor who's Cree Summer. Now look, they let us know that David Allen Greer was gonna be on this season. They made a big deal about Tevin Campbell was gonna be on this season. I don't remember hearing nothing about Cree Summer was gonna be on here. This is my girl right here, Freddie. They got Freddie on here. Ain't nobody tell me, girl. But you can see as soon as she stood up to talk, you could tell that Nova knew who she was. And I was like, "Oh Lord, here go Nova. There go some more Nova's skeletons in her closet." So she gets up and she gets to asking questions, and she is laying into Nova. She's calling Nova's book a work of mediocrity, and it's nothing more than just a tell-all novel. And oh my goodness, But Nova's giving it back to her. They going back and forth. Nova's giving as good as she gets. Um, but after the talk is over, Nova goes to confront her. And Nova is like, you know what? If you had a problem with what I did, well, my book, you should have let me know. Like, you're going to humiliate me publicly. And that's when you find out that they really do know each other. And she said, oh, Nova, come on in. Me and some of my graduate students, because she's a works at the new school. Me and some of my graduate students are getting ready to talk about your book. Nova was like, oh, I get it now. So you did what you did. So I would show up here and you didn't set me up. She was like, nah, I'm good. She said, really? She said, the Nova I know would never back away from a challenge. And of course, Nova sits down and she proceeds to have the conversation. So one of the graduate students is going to question Nova talking about, I mean, it just seemed like it was so old school. I mean, have you even read the works of, and she names like two or three writers. Nova was like, I just had lunch with them last week. And the next time I talk to them, I'll find out if they felt like my book was too dated and old school. And again, crack, 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 crack. She's sitting there looking real stupid. And Cree Summers, like, she said, well, look, I tell you what. She said, I need to talk to Nova alone, you guys. We'll see each other in class. So everybody gets up like they getting ready to leave, except for the girl that just asked Nova the question, right? She act like she was gonna stay. Cree looks at her and said, I'll talk to you later. You can go. And then she kind of giving Nova that side eye. Nova said, oh, you still have a type. And the girl does favor Nova. I said, oh, Lord, here we go. So they get to arguing. She said, now that we're alone, you can admit that my book is not as bad as you're trying to say it is. She said, 4 lines. 4 lines. Nova said, oh, that's what this is about. This is because I didn't talk about you in the book. That's why you publicly humiliated me, because I didn't talk about you in the book. She said, the fact that you only mentioned me in 4 lines and you didn't even call me by name, she said, that's worse than if you had not mentioned me at all. She said, because the fact that you put me in the book, but you chose not to really talk about everything about me in the book, tells me that you thought about it and you decided not to. She said, and that's worse. She said, all you said was that I was a professor who influenced you. You didn't even call me by name. She said, what about all those times we spent together? And she started going down memory lane, talking about some, remember that summer in Italy when I made you scream my name? And Nova was like, and I made you scream mine. I said, oh, Lord, Nova, you just got women in every state. Damn. Well, women, men, whatever mood you in that week. And they get to kissing. And next thing you know, they done made love. And, in the afterglow of the moment, Cree says, well, how long are you going to be in town? She said, well, I'm leaving tomorrow. Then I have to go to Boston and Atlanta and da 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 da. She said, oh, wow. She said, I wish you would want to be here longer so we could catch up. So maybe I should have had a conversation before y'all ended up in bed, but okay. She says, well, I could maybe go with you on some of your tours. And I knew then, I said, see, something ain't right with that. Something ain't right with this. Something ain't right with this. And she said, well, you have classes. Oh, they're graduate students. Nova says, well, that would be nice. Nova's just lonely. She's lonely and she's feeling alone. And so I guess Cree Summer's going to go on this tour with her. But I don't trust Cree. I don't trust her. It's more to that story. I don't know what more it is. I don't know how all that's going to play out. But there's more to that story. I don't trust it at all. But anyway, back in St. Joe. Ralph Angel done put on cologne. Blue want to know why he smelled funny. He said, because I got a meeting. And I got the kind of meeting you need cologne for. I said, oh, he got a date with an old girl. Now, my fellow YouTuber, El Teddy, he don't like her. But he don't like her because he like him. But I like her. I think she's a cutie. And they're out on a date. Ralph Angel and bought her flowers and they going on a picnic. And she had on a real cute little dress. And they were having a nice little conversation. And she leaned over to kiss Ralph Angel. And they got to kissing. Well, while this is going on, Blue is over at the playground. He didn't won the spelling bee. And his little friend said, "Congratulations, Blue, on winning the spelling bee." Blue said, "Thank you." He said, me and my pops, we studied, we stayed up studying." He said, "Your pops? My mama says you don't have no daddy." It's not funny. It's not funny, but it just goes to show you how innocent kids repeat stuff and they don't even understand the gravity of what they're saying. Blue was like, "What you talking about? I got a daddy." He said, "Nah, my mama said," she was on the phone with my aunt and said, you don't know who your daddy is, or you don't have a daddy, whatever it was." And Blue was like, "I got a daddy, my pops." Nah, my mama said that ain't your real daddy. So of course Blue he's crying, he's upset. They called him Darla. Darla calls Ralph Angel. Ralph Angel was on his date. He had to leave the date so he could go back to the house. Blue ain't talking to them. He done cried himself to sleep. And of course, they don't know for sure what it is, but they suspect what it is. And um, Ralph Angel said, "Well, I'm gonna go ahead and go home. You call. I'm gonna come back in the morning and try to talk to Blue." Darla talking about something. "Well, what if he wakes up in the middle of the night? I don't know what to say." So Ralph Angel ended up staying, but nothing happened. Ain't nothing go down. They just stayed to wait for Blue to wake up. And I said, "You dirty." Ooh. Because you could just anyway, I ain't gonna go there. Neither here nor there. It's about Blue. Um, I'll get back to that in a minute. Nova finally opens up to Hollywood and really lets Hollywood know how she's feeling. And she finally opens up to Hollywood and tells him, "Look, I'm feeling those old feelings again. I'm afraid, I'm scared, I'm timid, I'm nervous. All of those things that I felt when I was with Jimmy Dale, like that's what's going on." And Hollywood was like, "Well, I ain't gonna let nothing happen to you." And she said, "Well, you can't do nothing about my feelings." He said, "No, you're right. I can't do nothing about your feelings." He said, "But I got you. I'm here for you and I got you." She said, "And that's the reason why I could never forgive Nova, because she did this to me. She brought all of these feelings back. She did this." She said, "I took care of Nova after her mother died, after everything I did for her, and this is how she repays me." She said, "I will never forgive her." And I'm like, dang, I don't know what you're going to do about it, Nova. I don't know what you're going to do. So the council lady comes to visit. No, 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 no. I'm going out of order. I'm going out of order. I'm going out of order. Charlie goes to the clinic. Clinic is booming. People that got the word out. They feel safe. They're there. They're getting help. Ignacio, I think his name was, the guy that had been working for the Borderlands. He's there with his family. Next thing you know, ICE is raiding the joint. ICE comes through there. They're raiding the joint, asking for people's papers. Ignacio and his oldest son don't have no papers, so ICE takes them away, and whoever else is there without papers. They even asked to see the papers of the guy running the daggone clinic, Charlie's boyfriend. And Charlie tries to say, "Look, this is a safe space. Like, this is a clinic. This is a safe space. You can't come in here." And ICE was like, "Look, under this administration, we can do whatever we want to do." And I was like, "That's so true. That's so true. Damn the laws, damn what we supposed to be doing, but we know ain't nothing gonna happen to us, so we can do what we want to do." Um, they end up taking a bunch of people away, and Charlie, is feeling helpless, talking about she's gonna get lawyers for people, and she ends up talking to the sheriff about it. And she said, "I know this was the Landrys." The sheriff said, "This wasn't the Landrys." He said, "Because you got some of the Landrys' best workers on that van about to be deported. They wouldn't have done this." She said, "Well, then who did this? Who?" They said it was an anonymous tip. She said, "Well, then who would have made an anonymous tip?" He said, "Look, the day you shut that jail down was the day he said, you gained more enemies in one day than I got in a whole year when you shut that jail down." He said, "This could have been anybody." And so now she's standing there like, damn, like, this is really hitting me. So she ends up meeting with the councilwoman again, the councilwoman that was giving up her seat so that Jacob could run and everything. And she told Charlie, she said, "Charlie, look, heard about what happened down to the clinic. I'm sorry about that." She said, but I hear that your investigator's been looking into the land deeds and everything around here. She said, and if I know, everybody knows. She said, so this could be about me investigating what's going on with the highway. She said it could very well be. She said, so what is it that we can do? And she said, look, it really ain't a whole lot you can do. She said, you can either work with the other parish that's losing the highway because they want the highway, or you can run against Jacob. She said, but you're going to have to figure it out soon because the deadline to submit your paperwork is in 2 days. So Charlie's going to run. We already kind of saw that coming. Michael done went and got a damn tattoo and got drunk in the process. Charlie comes home. She walks in the room. She sees the bandage on his shoulder. And she's like, what the hell? He said, Ma, it's just a little small tattoo. Because I'm sorry, let me rewind. Michael went to go visit his friend at the detention center, the guy that got caught up for burning down the slave shack, the slave quarters. And, Michael was like, basically, Micah said something to the effect of, we really thought we were trying to do something. We didn't realize that what we did wasn't going to matter. And he was like, don't, he's like, look, I know you don't mean no harm. He said, but please don't tell me that I'm sitting here over something that didn't mean nothing. Like, I'm here for a reason. And he was like, no, I didn't mean it like that. He was like, look, man, you can really let me know how you feel it. Like, what's really going on? He was like, I'm just trying to keep my head down and get out of here. So, Micah got some survivor's guilt. The fact that he didn't get caught, didn't have to go to jail. He got a little bit of guilt. So he went and got the tattoo in honor of the boy that's in jail. And they had him drinking the liquor to numb the pain, but Micah asked him, goddamn drunk. So Charlie was like, so you done went and got a tattoo. She said, have you been drinking? He said, well, yeah, I only was drinking a little bit to numb the pain. I wasn't trying to get drunk. She said, so Micah, you're 17. Because he was trying to make it seem like it wasn't a big deal. She said, you're not old enough to get a tattoo and you're damn sure not old enough to drink. Ma, you tripping, Ma. She said, I tell you what. Since clearly you're not listening to me anymore. You let me know who you are going to listen to. Ma, I listened to you. And she walked out and slammed the door on him. I said, that's right. You better let him know. Let him know, Charlie. Let him know. So they have the conversation with Blue. And they explain to Blue, he tells Blue, Blue said, well, my friend at school said that you're not my father. And he said, I am your father. He said, I'm your daddy. He said, in every way that counts. I'm just not your biological father. And Blue said, well, what does that mean? And so they explained, what they mean by biological. He said, but I thought you were my real daddy. And he said, I am. He said, is that why we don't look alike? And you could have smacked Ralph Angel. The look on his face, I felt so bad for him. You could have smacked him when he heard that. And he said, it doesn't matter what we look like. He said, my soul is inside of you. He said, we got the same heartbeat. And he said, feel my heartbeat. Now you feel your heartbeat. We got the same heartbeat. And so he looked over at Darla and was like, are you my biological mother? She said, yes, I am. And Ralph Angel said, I chose you. He said, that makes it even better because I chose you to be my son. And Blue was like, well, what if you decide to choose another little boy or another little girl? He said, that ain't going to happen. That's never going to happen. And so he said that to, he asked Darla, and Darla said, she said, I am your biological mother. She said, but even if I weren't, I would choose you 1,000 times over. And so they had a moment, they hugged and kissed, and we love you, Blue, and I love you, Blue, and all that. So they seem to have temporarily gotten over that hurdle because again, it's gonna keep coming up. It's a book. It doesn't go away. Books are just as bad as the internet, especially in a small town where everybody's gonna read the damn book. It, and worse yet, people who don't read the book and only want to pick up the gossip from the book. So it's gonna keep going. It's gonna keep going. Um, we see Aunt Vi still processing. She's still dealing. Um, but that was pretty much where the episode ended. So again, it was a good episode. We're sort of seeing the downfall of we're sort of seeing the downfall of the repercussions of Nova's book. So we're going to continue to see the repercussions because I still don't think we know all that's in this book, baby. Anyway, let me know what y'all think. Drop it in the comments. Peace.